Good evening and welcome to the Gransberry Chronicles weekly pick'em week 15. Look, it's an amazing night. My boy D Jones is chilling this week, but you know what? On my awesome right, I got my boy Q from Beyond the Game, KY. That's for Kentucky. You see him representing with the Lex hat. Glad to see you tonight. And then on the left, we got my boy Coach Pat, better known as Coach Big Sexy for those who be checking out for him on those dark pages. But look, I'm missing my boy, but I'm so glad to see you, Q. We haven't had a chance to chat and talk sports. Ooh.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but thank you guys for having me on here. I think last time I was on here, it was it after the Super Bowl or was it right before the Super Bowl when I was talking to the Kansas City Chiefs fan. But yeah, I'm,
Correct.
I'm
That
ready
would
to look
that
in
would
this
be
thing though.
Dwayne. That would be Dwayne. So shout out to Dwayne. He's an interesting Kansas City fan, meaning he's a Philly fan, but he was Kansas City because his brother played for Kansas City. So a little uniqueness there with his loyalty and team defiance. But yeah, it's actually a good week to have you on since we have interesting conversations about your QB at the moment. And for those
Woo.
of you who are not familiar with Q, Q is a Tampa Bay fan, and his Tampa Bay
Woo.
fandom predates Tom
Yeah.
Brady's arrival. So let's be clear. He is a true Tampa Bay fan. He is not following Brady, or he did not follow Brady. So he actually has some great perspective on his team, awesome insight. And, if you joined us last year in 2021, we had a really good time with him during the playoffs because he told Derek Jones that day when before the matchup between Green Bay and the 49ers that they would be winning and that the ceremony would be taking place in Tampa for the big game. And he lived up to every minute of the hype, his words, and his team had him. But we're at week 15, and I'm really excited about week 15 in more ways than one. Uh, that would be some better games this week. It's just
Definitely.
straight up some better games this week. And I say that obviously the NFL cannot dictate everything when they create a schedule. There is going to be injuries, free will, as you may, or just a bad day for a bad game. It could be two good teams, and the outcome is not what you expected, which we've seen that this season as well. So I'm excited to be able to talk about more games. um I don't perfectly, guys, have to get them out the way done. So just so you guys know, I heavily rely on D Jones, and shout out to D Jones because I miss him for
Yeah.
that, to do the get him out the way. I just, run in and hand my little pick off, and I roll with it. So, in a twisted case of events, we normally get them out the way, but we're going to go with our picks. And then somewhere in the middle, I'll drop it in, how I feel about the picks and get them.
Old school, the way we used to do it.
Yeah, the way
The
we
day
used
way
to.
back in.
So that's what we're gonna do tonight. And hopefully, guys, y'all stay with us. Um, Shout out to DeSoto. I'm wearing my DeSoto jacket because my nephew is playing for state this weekend in DeSoto. So shout out to all the DeSoto family for that. So I'm super excited, super, super excited. And I broke my football headband. Yes, I broke my football headband at the game. And just so you know, while Coach Pat is trying to make sure he knows if he's sure and his deodorant is fresh, I have backups. I bought multiple pair.
Yeah,
I
I
just
bet you
didn't
did.
have them in DeSoto. I mean, at the game last week. So the pair I took to the game is the pair I broke. But never fail. I'm not out of them. I know exactly where to restock. So you're not stopping anything but your
Never.
feelings for the moment.
Yeah.
So let's try to get into this first game. Um, I'm definitely gonna start right out with, you know, Thursday night's game. The interesting thing about the game is like we still don't know for sure if Purdy's playing, but the everything leads toward he probably still is playing. Obviously, if he doesn't, it doesn't seem to matter who they throw back there. Well, it matters. It improves. We all know how I feel about
Jimmy G.
and basically Purdy proved my point about Jimmy G. So, I mean, he proved it so perfectly. It's like you can't tell me nothing else. I've been on this, and so you can save all of you play D1 ball, you play collegiate ball, you not in the league. All that is fine. That I simply said he is not the guy that would win the ring. And even if he is, and if it's possible, right? If you need the defense you're using now to be exceptionally high at that level, then it's not the QB. It just really isn't. And good question. Welcome tonight, Gonzalez. He always a good faithful. Not sure if Debo, from my understanding, he's coming back in the playoffs. Definitely not tomorrow, but it is possible for him to be back because he doesn't need surgery. So the door is open. I don't know if the door is worth it. I think it's one of those things where he's keeping it on the table because obviously they're still in it. And until he's not able to do it, then that's just probably what he'll say. So, but keeping with that, like I said, that's going on. Seattle, since this is a division matchup, I really think that even without Debo, they could win the game because it's really defensive. I mean, if you're not letting the other team score, you don't have to do anything but maybe kick a few field goals. So I'm going with San Fran. What about you, Coach?
I'm going with San Fran in this one. Seattle last week, I mean, which Seattle team we're going to get, but I just think San Francisco's defense always travels. It don't matter where it's going, East Coast, West Coast. I just think that they're going to be able to stop Geno on this one. The way Detroit got after Geno and things like that last week. I just see San Francisco's season as a way on a short week to get a dub on this one. What'd you say, Q?
Oh man, Coach, I'm right there. I'm gonna go ahead and make it Three's Company real quick, real smooth. I'm gonna go with San Fran in this matchup as well. I think San Francisco's defense is just a little bit too much for Geno. I mean, as the great Gransberry was talking about earlier, I mean, the Tampa Bay defense had something for Geno. So what do you think the 49ers defense is about to have for Geno? So I got San Francisco, even though, like Coach said, it's a short week for them. I'm gonna go ahead and get San Francisco in this matchup right here.
Okay, so the next game is a game we're not going to really discuss. I'm just going to run down who we picked. And we all kind of went hard in there. So I'm going with everybody picked Minnesota and Cleveland. So basically Indianapolis against Minnesota, everybody picked Minnesota. And Baltimore versus Cleveland, everybody picked Cleveland, which obviously is another game with a quarterback issue. Coach?
I picked Baltimore in that one. Yeah, I did. I picked Baltimore in that one. I only picked Baltimore for the simple fact that I don't know which Deshaun Watson be getting. So I'm sure the running game is gonna be there for Cleveland here and there. I'm choosing Baltimore in a field goal game because they specialize in field goal games. And I haven't seen Cleveland pick it up. I think towards the end of the game last week in Cincinnati in garbage time, Watson was able to get some yardage on it and get him a touchdown and things like that. But for some reason, I just went ahead and picked Baltimore just in a field goal game, Tucker against Cleveland's kicker.
I went with Cleveland in this matchup. The Browns come in winning 2 of their last 3 matchups. Like you said, Watson hasn't exactly set the world on fire coming back. But, I mean, if you watch football long enough, he wasn't going to come in throwing for 300-400 yards after not playing for a season and a half. So he got to knock some of that rust off. I think it'll be a low-scoring game myself just because I don't see Cleveland putting up a lot of points. And with the Baltimore having their backup quarterback, I just don't see – I mean, the Mark Andrews connection is not going to be there. I just don't see them putting up a lot of points. So I'm with you in the aspect of I think it will be a field goal game, but I'm thinking more so along the lines of maybe a 10-13 type of ball
That's what I was
game.
thinking
Yeah,
too.
10-13 type of ball. Because I don't see either
10,
offense
13, 16,
doing anything.
13, something like that. And then I don't see any aspect of it. I think her internet went down, but I believe the next game after that is the Miami at Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Miami at Buffalo. I picked the Buffalo Bills in this one. I know Josh Allen has had some elbow issues. Miami's coming back. I would say a pissed off Miami team because the last two were out on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I saw today that McDaniel cranked up the AC in the indoor facility, and then he said it still wasn't cold enough because they're talking about it's snowing. They're talking about it's supposed to be extremely cold temperatures. But I just believe Buffalo is going to get this one out of Miami and continue Miami's losing streak.
I'm right there with you, Coach. Again, but the Bills come in winning their last 3 games against the Lions, Patriots, and the
Correct.
Jets. Like you just mentioned, the Dolphins lost 2 of their last 3 matchups. I mean, 2 of the 3 last games. I'm with you with Josh Allen. I think he gets it done against the Dolphins right now. So I'm with you. I got the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen pulling this thing out. If it's a close game, though, Coach, I don't know if Allen, because Josh Allen, he kind of folded.
Right. He got, yeah,
So,
that, but then they were talking about the blueprint that San Francisco did against Tua, the blueprint that happened last week, I believe, where they made Tua become a deep passer
yeah,
against the high safeties and not play the short passing game that was basically killing the teams. And then Tyreek Hill's ankle. We
yeah.
don't know what's going on with that. It would just be Waddle against the Bills, the newfound Bills secondary that's coming back from that. What you say, Gransberry?
Well, it's funny that was going to be my game of the week, so I definitely.
Oh,
But I'm so glad you guys kept going without me. It's all good.
I'm
You went
sorry.
down the list with the times. There's nothing you can do about that.
I'm,
So I'm
I'm
definitely
so
going to
sorry.
pick
I'm so
Buffalo.
sorry. My bad.
Um,
My bad.
because like I said early in the season, the Buffalo team was really losing in their division. So these
Right.
games returning home were going to be a big difference. And it's so funny because when they played in Miami, I said that Heat would make a difference and still picked Buffalo.
Right.
So I think now the weather element, it does have effect. It's one of the reasons Brady had such a long winning streak in December in New England. I mean, if you practice in 6-7 months in nice weather or indoors, you don't exactly take heed to going to temperatures below 30 or snow and wet. People always talk about it's good football weather, and it is. I will say, I've sat in plenty of games in the rain and cold, but I do think it's very different. My sitting in a game in November in Austin or Pflugerville is very different than sitting in a game in New England and Green Bay. So for that, I'm definitely still sticking with Buffalo. Of course, Derek went with Buffalo. Now, what's interesting enough, on a few other matchups that we're not going to get, deep into, Atlanta versus New Orleans. Everybody picked NOLA. And interesting, Detroit versus the Giants. We all picked Detroit except Derek picked the Jets. And normally I would have went with the Jets, but I don't know what's going on with that other G Golf. He trying to play, he trying to ball. He trying to
I
remind
don't know
people
where
he
this
was in
dude
the
came
game.
from. I
Oh,
don't know who
right,
this guy.
right,
He's trying to remind
right,
us.
right after the first thing I thought of was I thought of Jimmy G, and then we thought of golf, which has always been Gransberry's least favorite or favorite least
Second
whatever
least
one.
favorite.
Second least favorite, it don't matter. One of the favorites to pick on. How about that? And he's been balling. I mean, I don't know. It's got them talking about that he's the quarterback of the future, and then not even drafting the quarterback. I don't know about that yet, but And then, but the thing I like about it though is their coach is taking on their identity and running with it. And they're running with it. You know, they're doing everything possible. I like that one.
So I don't want to cut you off, B.
Yeah, that was
But
funny. That was
but
funny.
Gonzalez is saying that
Yeah,
golf is the Ryan Gosling. But I would so if he's I don't know because if you say he's Ryan Gosling, then what is Jimmy G? Because I'm sorry, Jimmy
Jennifer
Jimmy G is more beautiful than golf. And so I mean that's a beautiful man. A beautiful, handsome man. And so with that in mind, I just wonder. But anyway, we're gonna stay on track. I'm gonna stay on track. We're talking about I'm okay with always owning up to things changed or what happened, right? So I'm very comfortable with saying that golf is playing a great game. I just think that what was misunderstood was me trying to explain what is going on in the two places they were previously at. So meaning when golf was in LA or with the Rams, we definitely know it was never golf that got them to the Super Bowl, you know, and that the way he plays, he was not the key part of the offense.
Nope.
So I think I'm always hesitant when we put too much attention on these guys who are fulfilling a role. And so the same thing I said about Jimmy, and it's okay. So let me be clear on that, because there was little chitter chatter about Jalen's in a system. I really don't care. Every team has a system. Yep. Every offense has a system. All the teams do. That's their goal. That's why somebody has the job. So for me, it's not about even trying to insult and say the system. What my key point is, when it's time to stand up, when you need that moment, can they?
You're gonna step up. Yeah.
So, and the reason I say that is because no matter what happened last week, right, with Brady, each new week you can still tell yourself you believe if they in a close game like they were 2 weeks ago, Brady will win the game. That is the difference that I'm really signaling on when I talk about why I don't care that much for them as quarterbacks. And they are the two that used to consistently prove that they were not reliable in that sense. Not they can't play football, not that I just want to nickname them stuff. And that was for me.
That's
so
fair.
Other QBs have had moments, right? I still don't really know if Kirk is that guy, but Kirk is usually not in that position. So that's why I don't bring it up as much when I talk about Kirk. Right. And I call our young tier of quarterbacks, you know, the Burrow, the Watson, the Jackson, and even Mahomes in the young, the young, because he might be the middle, but he's the young. They don't have enough to make them be that way, because we originally said when Jackson got here, how all this running and what he wouldn't do, and then he got to the playoffs and then it was like, shut up, you know what I mean? So it was quickly like you are providing examples that knock out people's opinions. So
well, and then I think the thing with golf now is he's got two wide receivers that actually kind of like Tua that are speedy and they can hit the short pass and they're gone now that Williams is now back. So they're scheming around it better, even though McVay tried to do it with him at the Rams and he failed. Maybe the maturity has gotten better for him, but it's still, we got to see what he does in the playoffs if they make it to the playoffs.
So everybody's in agreement with Detroit and why. So I'm still, I don't know. I did, now don't get me wrong, I did pick them, right? But I just wonder also still, like, will the Jets, because the Jets has a little nice defense, so will the Jets get in there?
But who's playing quarterback?
They got to stick
this
with
week.
What
you call it? White is hurt though, so I don't know if he's coming.
That's true.
That's why I said what I said. the fact that
Understood.
White
I
is hurt.
wasn't sure. I didn't know he was out though. I knew he was hurt.
Yeah,
Though.
they haven't
I
said
don't. I
anything.
don't think you can go back to Zach Wilson. I just don't think the team will believe in him and rally around him and play for him like they would another quarterback. So for me, if
I
I'm the
agree.
coach, I got to go with another quarterback because I just don't think they'll play for Zach Wilson as hard as they would for another quarterback.
Flacco's the third one.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fair point. So in the next matchup, we have Carolina and Pittsburgh. I'm with Derek and picking Carolina.
Same.
And Q, you
I'm gonna
wouldn't.
be. I'm gonna keep it all the way 1,000.
Okay.
I picked Pittsburgh primarily for the sole purpose of I just want Carolina to keep losing games because they in my division. That's my sole purpose
You know
of picking
what?
them.
Hey, we used to
Everybody's
do that all the
entitled
time.
to an emotional pick, and we will let you have your emotional pick on this
That's my
show.
emotional pick. I just want Pittsburgh to beat them to keep Carolina away from Tampa right now. That's all.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Well, Houston last week went up to Dallas for our every 4-year Battle of Texas, and they came up short. And what's hilarious about the game is obviously it was one of the more closer games for the Texans this year. And up until I guess about 2 to 3 minutes, you pretty much were amazed at the team that was playing. And I have to say amazed. Because what it felt like is they actually created a game plan specifically for that game against Dallas. So after watching them destroy the Colts, meaning Dallas, you just really didn't know what to expect. Obviously, our pick still held with losing, and there is no moral victory. I don't even find moral victory in the loss. So you won't get that from me. I definitely gave my salute to the Dallas fans, and absent some other weird rotation with the way they do the matchups, we shouldn't see them again for 4 years because I don't anticipate we'll be winning the division within the next 4 years. And we won't be coming in second place either. So even if Dallas loses their division to the Eagles, we most likely will not be in second place. And so I say all that to say they have an even harder game this week. And the reason I say harder, because obviously Houston versus Kansas City, part of my reason for saying harder is because one, people are now looking at what went on last week. They respect and know the defense that you played, and they're going to want you to repeat some of that effort. You had a great defensive effort by the Texans, keeping the score, low. And so everybody's going to be looking for, can you repeat that performance, right? and give us a little bit more offense with less Burkhead in the red zone. But that's a personal opinion. But so I say that it's harder because one, is the Chiefs, and two, it's after you put on a performance like this past Sunday, people want to see better football. It's not even so much about winning. It's just about more competitive football and effort. So that's why I say harder. Now, but no matter how much they do, they will lose this weekend. And so I have definitely picked the Chiefs. Coach.
Chiefs are going to win this game. Simple. I mean, like, I agree with everything that you said. You hit every dot, you dotted every I, cross every T. The fact of the matter is, they still didn't score the ball on the 2-yard line and try to go. The defense has been playing their hearts out the last 3 weeks. Fine, but Patty's a different beast, and he's going to find the wide receiver wheel routes. I mean, not the wide receiver, running back wheel routes better. I'm going with Chiefs, and there's going to be a lot of red in the stands in Houston. So, Q.
Whew.
Look. I know Gransberry said we don't do no moral victories over here, and I'm all for that. But at the same time, I do got to give the Texans some credit, though. They've been competing and fighting in every game, man. So they could have just looked at it as a lost season and just, it is what it is. But although I do still have Pat Mahomes coming down there throwing about 3-4 of them things on them, But I do expect the
Only
Texans to
3?
compete. Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like he's gone by the fourth quarter. It's going to be out of hand by the fourth, and he's going to get pulled. But so yeah, the Texans will compete, but I still got Pat Mahomes doing his thing, doing 3-4 touchdowns in this matchup.
And they see blood. They see that. They see that. They see the playoffs coming, and Kansas City is one of those teams that sees it and go ahead and get that win.
Yeah.
So everybody picked Denver and Vegas in their matchups, except who picked the Patriots?
I did.
Yeah.
You got the Patriots.
Yes.
I still think absent injury the other night, the game would have turned out a little different.
But it's Vegas. I mean, Vegas loses every single lead possible. I mean, I saw a stat, I think it was on the actual game, where they were up in like 4 games, 13 points, and lost the game. So I mean,
As
I
long as
am
I'm
going.
cheering for Houston,
I'm
I'm not
going
going to
with
talk about anybody's inability to lose a lead.
I know, but I'm going. I'm going with the coach over the pupil. Period.
Okay. Yeah, we've been there, so it's fine. We're not talking about the game. I just gave out those picks. And I'm gonna move to this Chargers versus Tennessee game. I think I'm going with the Chargers. I just think they're a more complete team, and now for whatever reason, Tennessee is becoming so confusing. Like one week they're playing good, like I don't know what we're getting. I don't really know what's going on. So for me, I'm going with the Chargers. Coach?
I originally picked Tennessee when we were going down the actual rundown on the group chat, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm switching that with the Chargers. I was impressed with the way they did last week. I think now that Justin's got his 2 wide receivers back, doing 2 wide receivers, they were killing. They were literally killing that, and the defense is starting to play a little bit better. Tennessee, like Mr. Gentry said, injuries, but I also think that the riff in the front office might have got into it in the middle of that whole situation of the GM getting fired.
Okay, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either.
Q?
I went with the Chargers as well in this matchup. Like I mentioned earlier, they've won 2 of their last 3. The reason why I went with the Chargers mainly is because the Titans have lost their last 3 ball games. And the 5 games that they have lost have all been to pretty good to good quarterback. Right. They lost to the Bengals and Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Trevor Lawrence is okay. They lost to the Bills, Josh Allen, we all know what he does, and Pat Mahomes as well. Now, Justin Herbert is the equivalent to Trevor Lawrence, so I think that the Chargers will pull this out because the Titans just don't do well against good quarterbacks.
Well, that sounds pretty good to me. That's more of a testament to they don't really have a defensive plan. They really counting on clock time and running Henry down the field on people and controlling it that way. And so you're right. If you got a good quarterback, especially one that can get the ball downfield, you're always going to come up short. And every quarterback you named on top of that can move. Yeah. So even if you rushing, these guys can find some, inability to take some chunk plays or something to keep the ball moving. So for me, I thought it was an easy pick, but interesting enough, I would have wanted it to be a little bit more competitive. I just don't know, what's really going on there. We always kind of find out something late on those type of situations, because that is an odd thing to do in the middle of the year when you think about the role of the GM.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
We all picked the Giants. So we're not going to discuss that game. And I say we all, but I'm sorry. Brandon did not pick the Giants.
Yes, I did. I picked.
I'm sorry.
Q, it was me. I had Washington.
Q, I apologize. Q, you didn't pick the Giants. You picked Washington.
So did Derek.
And so did Derek.
Yeah.
Oh, well then I said it the wrong way. You, the only one that picked the Giants.
Yep.
And so But that goes to testament to who you are. So we're gonna move on with that one because that's to get them out the way.
I
Um,
mean,
Rams versus Green Bay, and it's so sad because I'm sure when they scheduled this, they thought an amazing Monday night game. But things are interesting in LA with Mayfield, and I'll say this about him as well as like golf. He wasn't really one of those guys I wasted too much time on saying things or joking about like I do with the other ones. It was more so like he was so in front of us without producing anything, right? Like they just had him on everything in our face with nothing, and I get the number one pick, but there have been other number one picks that you didn't give all the commercial attention to. And he does well in his commercials, but his job is football. And he wasn't doing that great at football. So it kind of became old. But what I will say, I think this matchup is going to be a little bit more difficult, obviously, than last week. I will say it's always good for people to get another opportunity. I can't really say what didn't shake out or should have, shook a little better in North Carolina. As long as it just doesn't consistently look like things we've seen in the past with like a Cutler or Bradford, right? Like you're giving these people's jobs for mediocrity. And at that point, you need to seek out other people. So I don't anticipate the Rams winning this week. Hell, I didn't anticipate them winning last week. I mean, but of all the teams to freak up and let the guy come in from 2 days and win, so be it. So I'm going with Green Bay. Coach.
Green Bay Packers are going to win this game. They're at home. It's going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be rather cold. I'm going to go there from that aspect of it.
Okay.
I think the fact that they can see a little bit of film on Baker with what he does with the Rams. From that aspect of it, the Rams might come with a different game plan as far as plays, and now they have more structure in that.
Oh man, Gonzalez always come through with a good laugh.
Yes. So, but I'm going with Green Bay Packers. They're at the house, so just simply because of that alone, and then the Rams have so many injuries from that aspect. But that was a good look by Baker, 98 yards. That was good. But I'm going with Green Bay in this one.
Q.
I'm Three's Company again. I got Green Bay in this matchup. Two reasons. One, I think Aaron Rodgers has one more prime time performance left in the tank. I think this is the game for it. I think it's actually screams for the game for it. Also, there's a reason why Baker Mayfield went from the Browns to the Panthers, from the Panthers to getting cut to the Rams. Is that when you expect him to win a big game, he comes up short. And this is going to be a game that they expect him to win because of what Gransberry just said. Last week, he had the 2 days, learned the playbook, came out, won. It's all Baker Mayfield. Now they expecting him to do something. He's going to fall short. So let me get Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers in this matchup.
That's funny how you put it, but there's a side conversation going on, whispering out loud, as I would say, about when will Love ask to be released from Green Bay if they're going to allow Rodgers to play another year. He has 55 million coming to him next year. So obviously a trade is not happening. And so we in football, we know we don't sign waivers that give away free money and send players home. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see, like how much longer do you make Love be punished for a GM decision that you didn't plan to execute anytime soon? It's becoming a little overdone at this point. All the other teams who've done it, it was pretty obvious it was like a 1-year flip or switch, and they were going to be ready to, turn it over. They knew what they needed to do. You trade Wentz, you get him out of there, you get rid of Smith, Alex, everybody else. Now we see it, right? We know a pave way. We've seen it happen. But what's the point? So for me, I'm wondering how that's going to pan out at the end of this year. And my bet is more so on they're going to trade Love.
I think so
And
too.
the reason why is because my reason why I think they will is it allows for a clean slate, and meaning that you're at the end with Rodgers, you finish it, you let him go. You now can draft and build and do whatever you want to do at that time with the team you have. Whereas if holding Lance in the building, when you start thinking about drafting, you have to draft based on what you think will work best for Lance, and you haven't played him enough to figure that out. So, and with him hurt, you're not going to be able to even rep him enough to see what you want to do. So I just think it's gonna leave.
The San Francisco intrigue is going to be weird in the sense that, okay, even if Jimmy G is gone, let's say Purdy does a very decent job, then you got the Purdy Lance, decision that you have. And now, right now, you got Green Bay, you got A-Rod, Love decision, and there's Seattle, whether or not they want to draft a quarterback and give Geno Smith another year. So I mean, it's weird in the sense of how these GMs are actually thinking, year to year or decade. I mean, year to year or years to years. I don't know from the aspect. Tampa Bay might be in the same boat. What if Brady says, "I don't want to come back"? Now, who do you have? But they've had a quarterback in the background. Um,
Lamar
Griffin and
Jackson.
what's his name?
What'd you say, Q?
I said Lamar Jackson.
Oh, they're gonna
Yeah,
franchise him before they give him
yeah,
anybody else.
yeah. I mean, but then again, it goes back to. Then again, Baltimore in the same boat. I mean, the last 3 years, Lamar Jackson has gotten hurt, so that could be them trying to finagle the money for that.
And he ain't been hurt significantly like
Not
that.
significantly, but I mean, the
Uh,
fact that he hasn't finished the season and playing 16 games. I mean, I'm not saying us. I'm saying what GMs may or may not be thinking.
I'm
I,
still looking on that.
to Gransberry's point about the Love situation, there are two teams I think should try to make a play for Jordan Love this offseason, which is the Baltimore Ravens, because you don't know what the situation like. They might franchise tag him, but I'm hoping they don't and they let him walk. But if they do, whatever. Or the New York Giants. And the only reason why I said those two teams is because they'll finish the season. They won't have a high draft pick, but they do need some good quarterback play just in case Lamar walks out the door. You can make that trade for Love, get him in there, because if he walks, you don't have a high enough draft pick to draft a quarterback for the future. So you might as well bring him in, see what he got. Or if you're the Giants, are they really sold on Daniel Jones? Maybe you can make a trade, get Love in there, maybe compete with Daniel Jones for the starting quarterback spot for next season to see what he got. So those two teams I would pay attention in the offseason, more so the Giants than anything, to make a play on Love.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a sleeper thought. I definitely wouldn't have even. I know before that's what they were still trying to see what they would do about Jones. And there's a bunch of other little teams huddled around the middle with some quarterback, decisions to be made. Obviously, Indy, the
Yeah.
Falcons are going to have to figure out what they're doing over there as well. They may want to
Carolina.
bridge. Well, they just may want to bridge. They, like you said, they may not want to draft a quarterback. They may want to bridge one. It's easier for them to handle. Going back to shout out to our viewer Lou. Lou Barrett's one of my good seatmates. At the Texans games. But anyway, she gave us the record for Green Bay on Monday night. And at home, they are 16 and they've only lost 2 games at home.
Yeah.
So cold games in December at home tend to be Green Bay, regardless of who they're playing.
Frozen tundra.
So absent the other game I wanted for game of the week, we can still close out with another good matchup. I'm anticipating anyway. Cincy versus Tampa Bay. I think it'll be a pretty good game. One, because how fitting to make this the last game on the show tonight with Q, who's a Tampa fan. So maybe that's why I didn't get my game of the weekend. Q had something else. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, before we go, I read that incorrectly. Our viewer Lou Barrett, Miss Barrett, Miss Lou is what I call her. She said, no, that's the temperature, high of 16, low of 2.
Oh,
Not their record at home. But even still, that
that's still
already
a
makes
record.
my bones
That's
hurt.
a record within
That's
itself.
already. And true story, I do have some friends that went when it was in the negative. So yeah, I'm not interested in that level. I'm not interested. Mm-mm. So back to this matchup. So thank you, Miss Lou. So back to the matchup. We have Cincy versus Tampa, which is in nice weather in Tampa. I'm sure Cincy will enjoy that. Weirdest thing about that comes to mind every time I think about Cincy, it was when they were on a winning streak. I think it was like 9-0 or 10-0 or something. And the Texans had them on Monday Night Football. And I'll never forget, we won. But our starting quarterback went out with a concussion. And Yates had to come in. And the thing about Yates is like he is the Cincy killer, right? He is the one who somehow always ended up having to play Cincinnati for us and win. And sadly, it was a mixed moment, of course. When Hoyer went down and they were about to bring in TJ, I was like, oh, we're going to win because TJ doesn't lose to Cincy. And I just never forget that game because I was with your friend, Charles. He showed up at that game. I had to threaten him. Side note, why do I have to threaten my friends to show up and stuff or end our friendship? It's very weird, right? Like, and to his defense, his birthday was the next day and he had this huge trip planned. And but I didn't care because that was the game and it was in Cincy. And my rule is when I'm close to you, you come and meet me and go to the game. It's not up for discussion. So remember that, Q. It's not up for discussion.
Because Tampa will be up here next year. So yeah. But anyway,
yeah.
proceed.
So when I come and I'm close, the goal is you have to go. But anyway, so it was one of those nights, and that was when they were having like all these bomb threat issues going on too. So it's like one of the weirdest memories that I have all wrapped in together for it. Oh, thanks, Michael. Oh, thank you. He said he liked my deer antlers. But anyway, so with all that in mind, Cincy holds a special place in my heart. Tampa always holds a special place because it was my first road trip. And I almost lost a friend on that one because they took me to the mall, y'all, and I don't even like the mall. So that's the first thing. I don't like the mall. But my phone went dead while I was supposed to be going to look for something in one store and come back. And so instead of just doing the one store, I was like, well, my phone's dead. I might as well do the other stores. But needless to say, it only took about an additional almost 3 hours. And my friend was just sitting and waiting for me for about 3 hours, like no friend could ever do. It was so no, they waited. Now I got a lot of rolled eyes. I tried to buy drinks and dinner and everything. But you would just leave me in the mall on the road?
No, I wouldn't, but I don't
this
know.
Was pre-Uber. This is pre-Uber.
Okay.
This is pre-Uber. I didn't know their phone number. I wasn't even sure where they were in the mall, to be honest. And I really lost track of time. I should not have went to the additional store, but I should have went back to where I originally left him. But I'm grateful he's still my friend because I'm sure he cussed me out to his girlfriend at the time and everybody else. Like, this girl got me to take her to the mall and then decided to just leave and I was out of town. But anyway, I'll tell you who it was off air, Brandon, so we can have a good laugh. A good laugh. But so back to what I was going with the team, because I went down memory lane for me and my trips. after Brady's performance, it was one of those things where being a Texans fan, you used to like look and see who Brady played the week before he played you and hope he won because you never wanted to meet angry Brady.
Oh yeah.
Because angry Brady, when he's mad with himself, he plays out of his mind. And so that's what I'm concerned about with this game. So even though Cincy's in the little rhythm, got things going, Tampa's at home. And so, Coach, who you calling this one on?
Well,
Deep breath.
the reason why I said it like this is because, like you said, angry Brady, and I feel like Tampa Bay is trying to start a little, or not trying, or yeah, trying to get a little bit more momentum for the division to try to separate from the division what they are, even though the division is disgustingly bad. But I've been on Cincinnati since the beginning of the year when I said that they had to have must-win games. They've
Mhm.
won. They've showed out. They're starting to play a little bit better offensively. The identity is starting to show up a little bit better. The offensive line is playing a little bit better. Brady's offensive line is playing a little bit better. The key to this game is the running game. Which team is going to have their running game going? Because Brady can't sit back and throw 50 times. Burrow can sit back and throw 50 times and think they're going to be able to win the game and feel comfortable in winning the game that way. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati on this one in a field goal
I was
ending
gonna
game.
ask you, was you about to make this a
In
field
a
goal game?
field goal ending game. I already have one field goal, all field goals game earlier. This one, I just think this is going to be whoever's going to get the ball last wins. And I believe Cincinnati will be that team to be the last team that has the ball last.
I did pick Cincy too. Like I said, the only special effect would be a Mad Brady. I just think Cincy
Okay.
is a more complete team, and they're finally finding some consistency. So I'm going with them. And Q, I'm gonna let you close out your pick and what you got to say about your team.
Gransberry, Mad Brady, Smiling Brady, Divorced Brady, Married Brady. It don't matter which Brady. Cincinnati's winning this ball game. Tampa is not winning this ball game. Here's why I think Tampa will lose. Because we have trouble scoring the football. We average 18 points per game this season. So therefore, all Joe Burrow has to do is get 21, and he got his beat already right there. Cincinnati, like you just mentioned, has a high-powered offense. They're starting to find their identity. You mentioned that which team runs the ball will win the game. B Pat, baby, we last in the NFL in rushing, so that ain't about to
That's why I
happen.
said it though.
Yeah, that ain't about to happen. And I think you mentioned quarterbacks throwing 55 times a game. If Tom Brady is throwing 55 times a game, we are losing. When he doesn't throw that much, we win the ball game. Why? Because the run game is effective. When he's throwing that much, that means we have no run game. And he's just airing it out with that little noodle arm he got right now, dinking and dunking 5 and 10 yards down the field, which is getting on my ever loving nerves. But that's neither here nor there right now. So in this matchup, I don't
I
see us
love
coming
it.
away with a victory. Ah, it's rough out. It's rough in Tampa right now, baby. I don't know what we're doing. Defense is up and down all season. One game we look like we got the potential to be a Super Bowl contending defense, and in the next game we. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you something real quick.
I just love Q. Oh, Q, I missed you.
There is a 2 game stretch in the season that I have yet to get over. When we lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Carolina Panthers back to
I saw
back.
that game.
But it's not that we lost to those two teams, it's the quarterbacks in which we lost to. We lost to what's the kid from Pittsburgh who made his first start? I
Kenny
can't think.
Pickett.
Kenny Pickett, he went out of the ball game. Mitchell Trubisky comes in the ball game, lights us up for 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. The following week, we play against, I think the cat's name was DJ Walker. He throws for
PJ.
177 yards.
PJ,
PJ
PJ.
Walker.
PJ.
Redneck.
He, th-
Rednecks.
he
Rednecks.
throws for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns and
Roughnecks.
beat.
I'm sorry.
I've yet to get over the fact how we lost to these 3 quarterbacks in a 2 game span, and yet somehow, some way, we're supposed to be Joe Burrow. It's just not gonna happen, baby. It's not gonna happen. So for me, I got the ball game 28-14 Cincinnati.
Now
Mm.
I got a
I gave
question.
you a
Just
hug,
one.
Jesse and Q.
I got
Thank
one.
you.
I got one question. And do you think Brady fits with Todd Bowles?
No,
Does that connection?
no, no.
Okay.
I don't like to do this because we have probably the most diverse coaching staff in the NFL, right? We got Todd Bowles, black coach, Byron Leftwich, black offensive coordinator. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a disconnect between Bowles and Brady or Leftwich and Brady. But when BA was head coach, oh, he had that thing rocking and rolling.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
We wasn't scoring no less than 28 points a game, but for some odd reason, this season, BA is no longer there, and the offense takes a huge drop in production as far as points. So, and while we on Todd Bowles, look, man, I love the guy. I love him. And I get everybody is not a fire and brimstone type of coach. But my goodness, can I get more than this on the sideline? My goodness, we have a turnover. He just sitting around looking like this. We score a touchdown. He just sitting like, come on, motivate your guys. Like, get in their face. Do something, baby. I can't do it from home. You do it for me. I don't know what to do no more, Todd Bowles. But Lord, I love him though. But man, I honestly, to be quite honest, I think that, and I hate the fact that if this becomes true, I hate that it would have happened, but I honestly think that Todd Bowles is just a placeholder because Tom Brady had friction with Bruce Arians, so they sent Bruce Arians upstairs. And I do believe that Todd Bowles is just taking over until Tom Brady leaves, and I do believe they'll bring Bruce Arians back down to be the head coach again.
I'm not sure he wants to head coach again.
I think he does. I just don't think he wants to coach Brady. I think he wants a quarterback that he can kind of quote unquote control. And with a guy like Tom Brady, who's accomplished as
Maybe
much as he has,
guy.
yeah, he needs a regular quarterback that he can kind of mold into what he wants. Brady's already established. Like you ain't molding nothing over that way. Like he got this thing locked up and barrel. So I think they're just waiting for Brady to move on, and they're gonna bring BA back down because BA is involved with the offensive game plan anyways. So you might as well just bring him on back down on the coaching staff.
Because it's just the 1 year left, right?
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just this season.
Yeah. This is it, and then Brady's gonna go to San Francisco or Miami or wherever the boy wants to go to.
I guess so. That'll be the first time if him and his kids will be in different places. Yeah. That'll be interesting.
I thought if he was gonna be divorced, that he was gonna just be playing carefree, but he just don't care at all. I'm like, dang, bro, what are you doing now?
Well,
he did at the beginning.
Most of the males really did say that and stuck with that and couldn't wait to say that, which is like so odd to me because we are a world of people that need each other.
We do.
So
I need Brady. I need him to win.
And this is a football show, and I need football, so I'm gonna stick with that. In my safe space about that topic, but I got plenty more I can really say. But
I feel your pain, bro. Appreciate it, bro.
But he's a Titans fan, by the way, so
okay.
He's battered and confused too.
So we're just beat down.
Yeah, I mean, well, we got beat up by the bully and never got back up.
No,
and the bully was Bill O'Brien. So once we got beat down by the bully, we really haven't got back up yet. We kind of on one knee. we on one knee. We can't get on two because we scared we might fall back forward. So with that in mind, I get a lot of teams' frustration. I kind of expressed some of that at the beginning of the season. I really felt like we were getting bad football play. Right. Like there was just a consistent amount of, just bad play. Like, and not tying it to another sport, but I saw an interesting post about someone being thoroughly upset or making a comment, a very strong comment about no man should get paid the money that Correa was making for baseball for a game. And, I got all in my mind and I was going to give this big response. And then I was like, you know what? One, it's not my post. So I don't have to respond. And two, I don't think people understand the magnitude of which, you do that. Everyone who does their job and does their job well, every single one okay, regardless of the role, thinks they're underpaid. Everyone. So when someone else can attract value in what they have to offer in their role, which you can't do at all, there's really no room for you to judge how much they should make. And that goes even when people have opinions about educators or not getting more money or professions. I just think that there is no isolated profession that gets to argue you make too much for yours and I don't make enough for mine, right? I think we all make choices, right? Correa, in his mind, he making a sacrifice to go to Minnesota, right? He made a sacrifice. So I'm not really sure, Gonzalez. I thought it was 350.
It's 350.
350? Yeah, I thought it was 350. So, but even in that, my point is we really shouldn't count other people's money, because it's not your money. And there's a demand and a uniqueness in that, right? Like what they offer gets people like me to show up to games and
Absolutely.
buy seats. So you cannot compare that to, I want to charge you a certain rate as a lawyer. There are going to be several lawyers who can do the exact same thing at a different price. And you know what I do? I tell people, I say, always get you several options. It's your right to check out whatever you need. There's just no reduction in mine. I am open to you forum shopping wherever you need to go. I'm not bargaining with you. There is no bargain. See, because bargain doesn't mean cheap or reduced, but it does mean an ability to negotiate. And there's no negotiation. So I feel like if a player can get what he can get, I'm going to say it. And you notice whenever I talk about a player, I never talk about, well, he getting paid all that money. And that's the best performance he can get. Because guess what? I can't say that he don't put butts in the seats, right? Somebody still wants the product that's being produced. So who am I to say that? What I can decide is if I don't want to contribute to that process or that environment. And that's really it. But we really should refrain from deciding what is too much money. I mean, other than you hope the player finishes the contract, that would be about it. But I don't really, or, oh, wow, they paid that much to make sure they got them, but hopefully they can even play that long because we've seen injury, right? That would be it. But I really hate when people try to judge. The whole idea of professional athletes is a unique characteristic within itself. And you're thinking very small and narrow, but you have to think broad about how many people are affected by one team, right? It's all the people that get to work at the stadium. It's all the people that work for the team. It's all the online ticketing services selling tickets and making fees. It's all the concession stands and the products and the vendors who get the contracts. It's the city for the taxes and the infrastructure. It's the visitors like us that show up out of town, buy drinks, soda, dinners, rental cars, Ubers, and everything else. So in your narrow mind, they're being paid that much for a game. Right. But in the real scheme of things, it's a business, and business is about money. And money is available for those that have it. And value is in those who have something to offer. And that's that. So I don't want to hear any more about somebody shouldn't get that paid that much to play a game because it's whack. And you're not really into sports if that's what you're worried about. Now, it probably does change one or two things. This whole jersey buying thing has become different for us now as fans because players aren't staying on teams long enough. Well, we can put our last names on jerseys or we can buy the ones without names on them. And someone maybe should invent a better way for you to be able to change the name. Obviously, the teams don't want to do it because then you would buy one jersey and keep changing the back of it. But I do believe there's a medium ground that can be found even with that. But I'm going to get back off my soapbox because I was on one. And Q, I'm gonna thank you for coming and joining us
Thank y'all for
tonight.
inviting me. Thank y'all for having me.
Man, like I said, I miss you. Y'all need to check my boy Q out on YouTube. It's Beyond the Game KY. Y'all all know what KY is, and so you should be able to find it real easy. Beyond the Game KY. Questions with Q. Q got some interesting and good content on all spectrums. There's some interesting content, and he has heavily into basketball content as well. He has a different content segment for basketball. I forgot the name of that one, but it's you and your boy.
NBA Weekly Recap. But right now, and I'm not too thrilled to do that because the Lakers right now. But this ain't the time for that. This ain't
okay.
Wait. Was that the lead that they lost? AD missing 2 free throws at the end. Okay,
Pat, you enjoy the rest of your evening, good kind sir.
Tatum with the turnaround.
But just so you know, just in thinking to give people their flowers, I love seeing you guys talk basketball. I'm more of a fan of the
LeBron
that plays basketball
LeBron.
than I am. No, I'm a LeBron fan of his game. LeBron. Right. But I like to look at the basketball players more so than I keep up with the teams. That's what I was talking about.
Because they ain't got no helmet on, you know how they do it.
Now they most tall.
They over 6 feet. I forgot about that. They over 6 feet.
All of them are, except for
it might
Trae
be
Young,
maybe
except for Trae Young.
Yeah, it's a handful that maybe ain't over 6 feet, but for the rest of them,
Trae Young and Chris Paul, yeah.
Q, no.
Yeah. Hey,
so
5'11" and a quarter, 5'11" and 3/4. No, bro, come on, sit on back down, bro. This ain't where you want to be at. This ain't where you want to be.
Oh, but anyway, so I say that because I listen to you guys and it's just fun to listen to because I actually keep up more through you guys than I do through basketball myself, just because I don't, watch as much as I normally would. I probably don't take basketball serious until around after the All-Star break. Because I'm trying to put together my basketball trip, usually, pre-COVID, and then get ready for March Madness. So it's usually it just hasn't peaked. It hasn't peaked for me at that time. But in that, I just wanted to make sure, like I said, give you your flowers, because we sometimes, everybody gets caught up in their own thing a lot, and we don't get to talk about the great works of other people. And I just wanted to salute you for that. And then my boy,
made me cry on this joint, man.
Don't cry.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm light skinned, so it's gonna be real easy for me. Yeah,
oh my gosh, I hate you.
Great, have me cry.
Said light skin.
But no, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like you were like the first person that came to my mind when I, and you're more than welcome to come back. Just like you always open your door to me, my door is open to you as well. I just was like, man, I got to reach out to Q. I'm gonna have Q on, and I was so glad when you told me yes, because we hadn't had a minute to go, tit for tat, and I hate that I asked you in place of Derek, because the love of the Green Bay and the Tampa Bay is always so riveting to see and enjoy. And just another pow punch. You get rattled like me when you get to going on a good rant, and I love to see a good rant about the team, factual, right? And not just the trash talking style. So I'm happy for that. And I'm looking forward to next week. I'm hoping I'll be able to have like good news, great news. And so, like I said, again, my nephew's team is playing for state, and I'm so thrilled about that. And it is totally different. Like, I have been to the state championship game before. I have actually been to the game for DeSoto and watched them win the state championship before. And it is totally different. It is absolutely different. I mean, even just like making state was different because my cousins are on the team, and the head coach is family, and to see him get to his first state, like you just get emotional, right? And so yeah, it's amazing. I need to get off air so I don't get choked up because I do. Um yeah, I might retire from traveling for sports if my nephew keep me busy, because I'm gonna have to always be in the moment. Because the girl's exhausted. I mean, I've been on the road 5 weekends straight now. But I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change one moment about it, from the rain to the cold to breaking all my nails. So if you saw my hands go up, that I could get them done until tomorrow, but it is what it is. I lost whole nails. They ain't even breaking half. The whole sucker just came off. It was a lot of excitement going on, but my reindeer held in. Footballs I got to work on. So we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Like I said, you can catch my boy Q on his YouTube channel, Beyond the Game KY, and questions with Q definitely will be easy to find, and you can't miss him because he tall too, so you can't miss him if you get confused.
He blushing.
I know it, man. She got me on the whole spectrum of emotions, from crying to them blushing, bro. I'm all over the place.
Don't worry, Q. Don't worry. Y'all can still oh wait, I was about to say they can still go in your inbox, but I ain't even clear that with you. So I can't.
Oh yeah, they can hop in the inbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
just so y'all know,
I'll send some time. Don't get it. It's clear for takeoff. They can jump on it.
All righty then. Great. No entanglement.
Nope.
No entanglement. And I won't be pulling a Kelly and Megan on you chicks out there. So y'all will be safe. No backstabbing. Is it Kelly? Casey? What's her name?
I think is it Casey? I thought it was Kelsey, but you might be
Chelsea.
right.
Okay, the K. Whatever. Some of y'all will catch it on the way home. But anyway. We want to thank y'all for joining us, and I wish y'all the best. Coach, I'll see you next week. Q, I'll most definitely see you when you have availability. Just reach out, let me know, and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace. Oh, I forgot to end our show.